what is circular economy in coffee through the ITC Coffee Guide Network Circular Economy Working Group, which eventually transformed and formed the Center for Circular Economy in Coffee. A circular economy model for the coffee sector designs, balances, and implements regenerative practices, resource efficiency, and waste reduction while giving value to process outputs, achieving environmental, social, and economic sustainability. It's driven by a systemic and holistic approach, drawing inspiration from the dynamics of natural systems to regenerate, maintain, and create shared value for all stakeholders across different contexts and within the entire coffee value circle. We see, I've put in bold the inspiration from dynamics of natural systems because we are taking inspiration from nature. In nature, there is no waste. Humans are the only living entities that create waste, but within natural systems, everything that is an output or what we would consider waste becomes a feedstock, food, resources, energy for another living system in a circle. And that is what we're aiming to replicate through a circular economy. We'd love to get to know you. So we are using today the Q&A feature. So in using the Q&A, you can write a question to us anytime, but to get started, we'd love to know who you are. So introduce yourself as a question in the chat, right? Go ahead and write your name and organization, what country you're from. And based on the definition I just gave, think of one circular economy practice that your organization is already implementing. This could be composting, it could be recycling, it could be creating new products out of coffee byproducts like cascara tea. So think of something and share something that you're doing using the Q&A. And as you're doing that, I'm happy to present our agenda for today. We will have shortly opening remarks from Dr. Celestine. Dr. Celestine Gatariaya, the Director of Research and Development from the Inter-African Coffee Organization, IACO, and African Coffee Research Network. Dr. Celestine leads the Directorate of Research and Development, which is the technical arm of IACO. In this capacity, he coordinates coffee research in Africa, aiming to improve the productivity, quality, and added value of African coffee. He coordinates the research activities within the African Coffee Research Network, ACORN, which is the technical arm of IACO. We are honored to have Dr. Celestine join the scientific board of the Center for Circular Economy in Coffee. After his opening remarks, we will hear about the Center for Circular Economy in Coffee from my colleague Mariama Witt-Solomon, who is the Project Development and Operations Lead at the Center. We will hear then some perspectives from other existing members, from Ismail Njewe, who is the Secretary General of the Robusta Coffee Agency of Africa and Madagascar, ACRAM, from Dahab Bitwillian, General Manager of Diamond Enterprise and Dahab Specialty Farm, from Bemlak Bekele, President of Women in Coffee Ethiopia, and Samuel Tini, who is the Director of 3ES, Environment, Entrepreneurship, and Energy. Then we'll have a Q&A session answering any of your questions and closing remarks from Maury Diarwa, Regional Coordinator of the ACP Business Friendly Program at International Trade Center. And without further ado, I will turn it over to you, Dr. Celestine.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Catherine, for the invitation first, for participating in this webinar and give the opening remarks. So ACRN, like you explained, the African Coffee Research Network works actually under IACO. So it's a network of the coffee scientists or in the member countries. We have almost, I think, 25 member countries up to today. But with the new agreement with of IACO, we are planning to expand and have more members because before IACO members were only the coffee producing countries. So, but until now, we still have the 25 member countries. So those are the ones the ACRN work with for coordinating research uh, in their research organizations. So what ACRN does is actually, to provide, facilitates a kind of, exchange of scientific information and also technologies. And one of the platform that we have is the scientific conference that we organize every year. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank the Center for Circular Economy in Coffee. They have been attending our scientific conference since the previous one we had in Tanzania in 2025, and even the recent one we had, I think the last 2 weeks in Addis Abeba. So we really thank you for your participation and also providing your information about the Center for Circular Economy. So the ACRN actually and IACO has joined the center as a member from the visit we had at the Center for Circular Economy in 2024, I think. So we actually joined, and joining has been really, you know, something that we look into that's going also to help our research. If you see research that we've been having in our member countries and, on coffee, it has been actually to focus on the different technologies on how to improve production, productivity, and quality. Thinking of breeding, having new varieties, having new technologies to control pests and diseases, new technologies to increase the quality, but less has been on the area of value addition. And that's where we really want now to focus with the new vision of IACO of enhancing the coffee research. We want to put more effort into value addition, but also into the transformation of the waste that we have in the coffee. So into the circular economy. We want to emphasize also in circular economy. We have a lot of waste from coffee, in coffee producing countries, especially the coffee pulp, the husks. So now having some technology to be able to transform this from waste to products that can bring more income to the farmers, I think that's an area where we really need to focus, and that's where we see an advantage and opportunity to collaborate with the Center uh, for Circular Economy in Coffee. But also, by reducing those wastes in coffee, it's also a way of cleaning the environment. We've been having some initiatives in our research organization, but not really much and not enough. And we've been also seeing some challenges. For example, you find in some area where they have this, some source that we have from researchers doing this work. We have some people have been trying to do the cascada, for example, that we are talking about. But those initiatives are still not enough. And if you see very well, it requests much of investment. It requires also, the skills, need to get more skills on how to be able to use those technologies and to develop new innovation. But also we need to emphasize also in terms of partnership, and also we have to have kind of enabling policies and also standards that can be able to promote those the products that we can have from the circular economy. So because I'm saying this, because if you see things that are coming from research, they really need to go into the private sector so that they can be able to scale up and use it for the market. Market also sometimes can be a challenge. So those are the areas where we really need to focus, and we see it by collaborating with the Center for Circular Economy. We see it as really an advantage based on the experience that they have. We can be able to have the sharing of good practices, research innovation, the guides and the case studies in circular economy, for example, and also collaboration in terms of capacity building. We really look forward to continue collaborating with the Center for Circular Economy in this area so that we can be able to support the coffee research in Africa in this area of circular economy. So I want to thank you again and thank the circular economy, the center for giving me, you know, having given me opportunity of being a member in the scientific board as well. So again, thank you and wish you a fruitful deliberation during this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Celestine. As I mentioned, we're delighted to have you on board and collaborating with IACO and the Acorn will be instrumental in furthering the research that's been done on circular economy and coffee within Africa and finding ways to extend the resources throughout Africa to really promote action and promote adaptation of these practices. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And I would love to pass it to my colleague, Mariamowit Solomon, to share more about what we do at the Center for Circular Economy.
Thanks, Catherine. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all with us today. And I would like to kind of set the stage as why we're talking about circular economy today for coffee, and I'll get into what we do at the center. So today we are producing excessive waste in the coffee industry. As Catherine mentioned earlier, we're consuming less than 5% of the coffee cherry in our final cup. At the same time, we are in the era of climate change where, production is constantly being affected by variations in weather patterns. We have volatile prices, both facing coffee producers where, they're still struggling for living income, as well as, coffee buyers and roasters where they can't keep up with the volatility of the prices. All the while, we have a rise in global demand. Coffee people are learning to drink coffee in parts of the world where we haven't seen consumption before. And all the while, like we've said in the beginning, we are continuing to produce coffee as the way we've produced thousands of years ago. And we're discarding about 95% of the coffee cherry. Next slide, please, Catherine. And to quantify that waste, I want you to envision the weight of the Great Pyramid of Giza. We're generating about 7 of those, which is actually about 40 million tons of biomass. Luckily, the majority of that biomass, about 70% of it, remains within coffee-producing countries. This is a big opportunity to transform this into new products. Also, in coffee-consuming countries, we do have biomass, in fact, about 11 million tons of it in the form of spent coffee grounds. Again, incredible value for input. Next slide, please. And specifically, I want to speak to that value. I know you all follow, and even if you don't follow, I'm sure you've heard that, we're being told to consume more fiber in our diets. yet we are, discarding silver skin, which contains about 60% of fiber, which we can use in our diet. We have pulp, which contains about 60% of cellulose, coffee husk, which contains up to 85% of carbohydrates. These are both excellent sources for generating fuel. And then we have spent coffee grounds, which contain about 16% of lipids. And these are, again, great for pharmaceuticals and cosmetic industries. So this is just to give you an indication of the potential that these coffee byproducts that we are discarding today as waste, and how they could be inputs for other industries. Next slide, please. And to show you just a few examples of the final products from using these coffee byproducts and as an input, we have biochar from transforming, coffee pulp or coffee husk. We can produce mushrooms from spent coffee grounds, but also coffee pulp again. We see, again, spent coffee grounds being transformed into cosmetic ingredients, specifically as oils for extracting the caffeine, or even using it as a scrub on its own. We also see biofuels, like smaller fuels in forms of pellets from coffee pulp or coffee husk. And then we also see cups or bioplastics being made from coffee byproducts. Next slide, please. So for us as the center, our vision is to really be a reference actor in the transition towards a circular coffee model, where there's no waste and new models of profitability are created, especially for producers. And our mission is to accelerate that transition from a linear model to a circular model by providing a platform where our members can share knowledge, can share resources, and they collaborate and they partner to drive circular economy practices and actions. Next slide, please. And today, we are succeeding in that effort. Our membership spans across 31 countries. Today, we have about 77 members, but we are growing. We're still receiving applications, and we review applications actually on a quarterly basis. So if you haven't applied yet, this is a perfect time to apply. Our next membership review will be in April. And so you're perfectly on time to join our membership. We have equal representation between the global north and the global south. This is not something that is universal across coffee platforms, and this is something we're really proud of, that we also champion the voices of coffee producers and coffee growing communities. Next slide, please. So a little bit about how we work is that we are, as a membership organization, we are a pre-competitive platform. We are founded by 6 organizations. That is the Lavazza Foundation, the University of Gastronomic Sciences in Pollenzo, which is an Italian university dedicated to food. And this is where slow food was also born. We have also Politecnico di Torino. This is one of the leading universities in engineering in Italy. And then we have 3 UN organizations as part of our founding members. These are the International Coffee Organization, International Trade Center, and the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. As a UN entity, they cannot, formally join as a member, but they are part of the organization through an MOU. So the way that the center works is that our membership makes up our General Assembly. Each representative or each member gets 1 representative vote, and they elect the board of directors or the board of directors. And the board of directors are elected every 3 years. And so the General Assembly is basically you, the membership, have lead how the center organizes and achieves its work. We also collaborate with the ITC Coffee Guide Network. Membership through the Center for Circular Economy is for organizations and companies. However, individuals can still interact with the Center for Circular Economy through the ITC Coffee Guide Network. Then we also have our scientific board. This entity is part of the center, but basically the scientific board is where all this research happens, and all of our knowledge products are validated by the scientific board. And I'll get into that in the next slide a bit. But to really emphasize on the organization and how we work is through the also tied by the operations team. So the operation team is responsible to the board of directors, but it is the body that is interacting often with the scientific board as well as the General Assembly and the Coffee Guide Network. Next slide, please. So to show you a bit of the faces behind this chart is that we have Mario Ceruti, who's the board president, and he's supported in his role with Stefano Corniati and Ronaldo Rava, also along with the UN organizations and ICO with Vanusia and Halanore, leading the advisory board with Hernan, Cristina Reni, Andrea, Chiara, and Gerardo Pataconi. On operations level, we have the scientific board that is led by Dario Tozo, and I will show you all the other scientific board members in the next slide. But leading the operations is myself, as well as Catherine, with members from Politecnico di Torino, University of Gastronomic Sciences, and again with the ICO supporting our research efforts. Next slide, please. Our scientific board members, as I've said before, they really validate the knowledge product that the center publishes. These are all the informations that we put out through our webinars, our publications, as well as the information that you find on our website. You will see that our scientific board today is composed of 9 members. We have met one already, this with Dr. Celestine, but we have 8 others that you have not met, but they have all expertise in coffee byproducts. They have published numerous research on coffee byproduct transformation, as well as circular economy frameworks, and they also represent different regions of the world. So you will see that we have representatives from coffee producing regions again, as well as coffee consuming countries. Next. For the center, we mainly engage in 3 strategic pillars. So the first one is our mandate is to create awareness and culture for circularity. So we serve as a global hub for knowledge exchange and awareness. We do this by curating and disseminating, evidence-based good practices that is validated by our scientific board. We build and we have built and fostered a multi-stakeholder global platform where we facilitate dialogue and collaboration. We share our insights through publications, webinars, and events to promote circular economy practices. And we connect coffee value chain actors to innovate circular economy solutions and to innovate and scale their circular economy solutions. Next, please. Our second pillar is focused on research and capacity building for systemic change. We generate actionable evidence and try to strengthen capacities to enable circular practices. We do this by consolidating emerging research and translating it into practical innovations. We have produced technical guides, policy briefs, and white papers. The latest one is on our unspent coffee grounds, which you will find the executive summary on our website. We develop research-backed training materials and courses, and I will get into that a bit more in the next slide. But we also partner with members and associations to build capacity for producer organizations. And last but not least, we also partner with universities to promote circular economy with also youth and women. Next slide, please. Thank you. Last but not least, in our third pillar, we try to turn the knowledge that we have generated through our research efforts into action for scalable circular impact. We try to drive real-world implementation of circular economy solutions through pilots and collaborative projects. We implement donor-funded projects and public-private partnership projects. We try to establish demonstration plots and proof of concepts for circular economy solutions. Specifically, at the moment, we are doing that in Kenya together with the UNIDO's ACT program. We're trying to roll out a training for circular economy solutions. And if anyone is here that is based in Kenya and would like to take part in that, please write in the Q&A, leave us your contact information, and we'll reach out to you to discuss this further. And to that end, we also document and share the learnings from those pilots. Next, please. So with all of that, I would like to leave you with some of the resources that you will find on our website. So for our first publication, we collaborated with the ITC Coffee Guide Working Group, where the paper we published is called Making a Case for Circular Economy in the Coffee Sector. And this is where we defined what circular economy meant for the coffee sector. It's the definition that Catherine read and shared with you at the beginning of the session. Our biggest publication and our second publication was done together with the ICO. It is the flagship report, which is titled Beyond Coffee Towards a Circular Economy, towards a Circular Coffee Economy. And this paper explores the untapped potential of coffee cherries beyond traditional brewing. Our third publication was a bit more focused. It was specifically focused on the Kenyan coffee value chain, trying to assess the feasibility of transitioning to a circular economy in that context. It was a collaboration, a multi-stakeholder collaboration that was led by UNIDO and also the Italian Development Cooperation. Last but not least, our latest publication is a white paper which focuses on the hidden potential of spent coffee grounds. It is an extension of the coffee development report, and it builds on the academic and entrepreneurial innovation and applied assessments that were done in all of the past work of the center. Next slide, please. To conclude, I want to emphasize on what the center could do for you if you join as a member. What we are able to provide is access to a global network, a link to technical expertise through our scientific board, access to research databases, and our support in collecting insights and input from a global network, but also in capacity development and training, as well as sharing and being let's say if we partner on a project, or if you bring us in as a partner for your project, we will manage the knowledge management, including publications, webinars, and organizing events. And you can also support our work as a membership-based organization. We are only as strong as our members, so we value the engagement with our members. You can make us stronger by sharing our work and resources, and encouraging others to join us as well as yourselves. With that said, I will now like to invite our panelists to share about their experiences about being a member with the Center for Circular Economy. Bamlak is the Women in Coffee in Ethiopia's president, and she's been in the coffee sector for a while. Bamlak, I would just like to prompt you before I leave you the floor. We have had a partnership where we collaborated on assessing the feasibility of transforming spent coffee grounds as well as coffee mucilage for your members. And I wonder how that fits in with the larger strategy of Women in Coffee, why you specifically also to partner with the Center for Circular Economy. The floor is yours, Bamlak. Thank you.
Thank you, Maramait, and thank you for calling me to this panel. Let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So for us, I think as an institution, Women in Coffee Ethiopia, we've always known that circular economy and then also the sustainability of using all the products that come out of coffee that's outside of the bean that's being presented on people's tables. But I think the wake-up call for Women in Coffee came when we did a research in collaboration with the Spanish Cooperation on the assessment of the role of women in traditional values and aspects of coffee production and brewing ceremony. I think it was important for us to understand what role women played in the coffee industry and what benefits the women got. And it was very surprising to us when we understood that in a family setting, it was only less than and up to 10% of the economical benefit from coffee that women were able to decide upon. And so I think that was an important question for us as to how women could be able to benefit more from coffee. And when we did the second project that we had with the Spanish Agency for International Development Cooperation, it was in relation to coffee and climate, and then also in the support to gender and climate action plan. And this was where we had the opportunity to do more research in trying to understand how the byproducts of coffee could be something that women could actually benefit from in a more economical sense, but also in an environmental and in a sense of sustainability as well. And so that's when we had a chance to collaborate on a research that we were doing with the support of the Spanish Cooperation, and that's how we came to collaborate with the circular economy. And we were able to put out the research yourself and also Dr. Hans were also able to provide us information and data, and then also a pilot recommendation on how women can be able to use mucilage, fertilizers, animal feeds, biogas, and other products that come out of coffee to an advantage where they're able to utilize it, but also turn it into something they can economically gain from. And so that's where the collaboration between circular economy came to be, and which was something very benefiting. And we were also able to put together the research that we had from you and as well from Soil and More into pilot projects. We're actually able to do this with collaboration with Dila University and implement it to women coffee farmers around the area and do projects and pilots these research and actually see how they run on the ground and see how women could be able to benefit from cascara and as well from developing compost from the coffee byproducts, which was a success, regardless of how small the women were able to reach were. We had 35 women in the groups of 7, and they were able to take trainings, both theoretical and also underground trainings, with follow-up on how to produce really good quality cascara following the steps, and then also be in the process of having their own compost making project within the groups. And actually, you were also able to collaborate with Women in Coffee colleagues and as well with UNIDO and other stakeholders on the event that you had with SIP, Savior, and Sustain and here in Ethiopia. And we were very happy to bring on board actually a woman that was able to take this training that we had hosted in Dilan, the production of cascara, and also present that to people that were at the event. And so just to generalize maybe on the question that you asked, I think for us being a member in the circular economy is helpful for us in one, having resources to pull from, having the collaboration to understand what are the gaps and what are the research outputs and understanding of what the problems are and what the solutions potentially could be. And then also to try to come across a community that has the same values, that is striving for the same goals of creating a more sustainable environment and also potentials for putting forth byproducts that come out of coffee in a more economical sense. And for us specifically, how can women now be advantageous in trying to use these methods to create products that previously didn't have attention. It's not something that's already saturated by male, and it's a big potential for women to utilize these opportunities to gain power and be able to get economical advantage or also contribute to the environment. So yeah, I think that's it for my side.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. That was an excellent answer. And we were very glad to have that collaboration with you and also with the member of Women in Coffee, specifically was Lomi, who attended the Cascara tasting event. And we were very pleased with the turnout, and I'm sure she was too. So I was just saying that, you've been producing cascara and you also practice regenerative agriculture on your farm. So I was wondering what motivated you to join the center and what benefits you've gained since becoming a member.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to take part in this panel discussion. The motive was, when I started working in coffee in 2012, I have to learn about coffee. And when I learn about coffee, I just know that 100 kg of red cherry will end up with 16 kg green coffee. So although there is some amount of weight, like water that is evaporated during the drying process, there is also a lot of waste that is wasted around the farms. That's how I started exploring on how to use the waste products of coffee. And traditionally, actually, we use the husk. Some people use the husk, like you use it with coffee. Like with some proportion with coffee, they drink it like coffee traditionally. So I started trying with the pulp, with only the pulp, to drink like tea. That's how I started at the beginning. And then in 2017, I was participating in the American Specialty Coffee event. And one company from Australia was serving cascara. And he came by to my booth and asked me if I have cascara. I have already on my table. I usually use it on my table to show people that we are producing cascara. And then he invited me to his table, and then I go and tasted the cascara that he prepares. It was good taste, and I love it. So that's how I started to use as cascara. But besides that, the cascara is, we use only the pulp. So in my farm, I don't have any wheat processing plant, but I have 50% of my dry coffee, which is waste. So we usually use it as a compost. But for the last 5 years, I have employed a professional who is working in preparing vermicompost. So he uses that waste of coffee, the husk, to increase the volume of compost which is produced by the vermicompost. That's how I'm using for two purposes. One is cascara for drinking, and the other is for compost preparation, and it helps a lot. That was my motive when I started at the beginning.
And what benefits have you gotten since becoming a member of the center?
Yeah, when I started as a member, I was, to tell you the truth, when I asked at the beginning, when I sent a request to be a member, I was not sure that I would be accepted as a company. But I know for sure that I'm working in the farm and I need technical support from them, and I need to share my experiences too with the other members. So it was automatic actually. I was accepted by the center, and as a member, I usually participate in the webinars that take place at times, and there are a lot of people who know about how to use the waste. So I get so many experience from the people that present how they use. Actually, the presentations are from the consuming countries most of the time. So they present the spent coffee waste management, waste uses. But I am expecting more of the use of this wastage on the producing countries. So I have learned a lot from the my participation in the center. And the second one is before 13 days during the AFCA event in Ethiopia, there was a Cascara tasting event. And it was an honor for me to take part at that event. You know, there were big companies like Hyatt Regency. It's a big company, big hotel, hospitality center. So it was a good opportunity for me to learn from how they prepare cascara. What do they do with that? It gives me another perspective for my cascara to use it in my future endeavors, and it was very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, Rahab. We are running a bit behind on time, so Samuel, I will ask you to keep it a bit short and concise. And that said, again, we're very happy that you could join us today. For those of you who don't know Samuele, he is the director of 3Es, Environment, Entrepreneurship, and Energy in Kenya. Samuele, you have an active partnership with the Lavazza Foundation implementing sustainability projects in Kenya. And so tell us a bit about how circular economy fits into the projects that you're implementing and what made you decide to join the center. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Maria. I mean, it's been a pleasure, to discuss as a new member, to come here and discuss here from the islands of Kenya, as we call, from the Rift Valley. So in our project, here I will be brief with the Lavazza Foundation that is finalizing, and we are trying to see a phase 2, is actually very important because we know that circularity can be an important pillar. Behind me, there is the environment and the energy. And we have supported the farmer from farm to cooperative and work. And circularity is very important because what was said before, we have a lot of waste, the asks. I recall the first time I entered the cooperatives when we did the need assessments, and we saw a huge pile of asks. And then we asked, what do you do with them? We actually burn them. So, wow. So from there, in the discussion, especially with the foundation, we say, we can work with that. And then they say, there is the center and you can enter there, and it's trying to work. And of course, it's been a process within this year to see how we can work. It's not only with the byproduct, even the byproducts of production. We have regenerated a lot of work about the water systems. We have done a lot of work on the pulping station that were putting water in the rivers. So, that for us was a milestone as a project, because we wanted really to see how we can put and make use of all the resources. And the second step is also how to create, and I will start with that, youth opportunity. We know in Africa, especially young people, move out of agriculture. Agriculture is a stigma. Sometimes they want to go, everybody, and we are here in the islands of Kenya, so in the Rift Valley, and say, we want to go to Nairobi, we want to go to the city. The average age is 56 to 60 years. So circularity it can be, and that is the pilot for the phase 2, is also like how we can give opportunity to you, young people, the briquettes, the biochar, and all other products, not only related to coffee, the small roasting, the milling and others, but also that to have youth opportunity, especially women, and you to be there, to remain on the farms and be the next stage farmers. So I hope I've been brief. I know the time is there. If you want, you can reach out and we can discuss.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Samuele. That was great. And for those of you who are interested in joining the center, please drop us your name and email in the chat in the Q&A. We'll also drop our website in case you want to apply directly. We are now nearing towards the end of the session, and I would like to invite our colleague Maury to provide the closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Maria Marie. thanks to all the panelists. I think my remark is supposed to be in French, because I know that we have some French speakers, so I will do it in French. Sorry for that. I'll keep it short. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Merci beaucoup à tous aujourd'hui d'être dans cet appel, donc dans ce webinaire sur l'économie circulaire qui est très importante pour nous. Donc, comme vous avez si bien vu à travers, je vais pas résumer un peu, je vais essayer de résumer cette riche discussion entre les différents panélistes qui ont plus ou moins parlé de l'entrepreneuriat, de l'innovation, et également la collaboration entre les institutions, donc qui est très importante pour accélérer la transition et pour pouvoir avoir une meilleure circularité ou une meilleure durabilité dans le secteur du café. Donc là, nous, dans le cadre du programme ACP Business Friendly, nous travaillons avec le partenariat qui est l'Agence des cafés Robusta d'Afrique et de Madagascar, la CRAM, et nous, bien sûr, nous encourageons les femmes, telles qu'en Éthiopie, comme vous l'avez déjà vu, mais aussi dans les autres pays, à innover pour utiliser le café d'autres manières, donc consommer le café autrement. Donc, aujourd'hui, les échanges nous ont démontré que le Centre de l'économie circulaire est une plateforme dynamique. Donc, j'ai bien retenu quand Mariam Awid a présenté les différentes ressources qui sont disponibles et quand Bamlak a présenté les solutions grâce au centre qui ont été mises en place en Éthiopie. Donc, je voudrais ici inviter les acteurs, notamment dans l'espace Accram, donc dans les pays d'Afrique de l'Ouest du centre, mais bien au-delà, de pouvoir optimiser les ressources et de pouvoir saisir, les nouvelles opportunités économiques qui se présentent à eux à travers ce centre. Donc, plus nous serons nombreux, notamment dans la recherche, dans l'innovation, dans l'entrepreneuriat, plus le centre aura un sens vraiment dans la durabilité et pour les questions d'inclusion de genre et d'inclusion économique. Donc, pour ce, je voudrais me limiter ici. Donc, je voudrais remercier tous les panélistes. Donc, je ne vais pas les citer par nom, mais je voudrais vraiment faire un appel aux différents entrepreneurs aujourd'hui en ligne de pouvoir rejoindre ce centre. Comme on l'a si bien présenté nos collègues, c'est un centre qui est sur une base de gouvernance avec une certaine traçabilité, avec des questions qui sont au niveau économique, au niveau d'inclusion, donc au niveau également de la durabilité pour pouvoir avoir un impact plus durable. Donc, je vous remercie. Merci.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for these remarks, Maury. And I want to thank all of the panelists for joining. Thank you, Dahab, Samuel, Bemlak, and Maury for sharing your experience and from different perspectives, from the association and nonprofit level, and then the coffee entrepreneur level. So as we've mentioned, the center is open to all actors, to nonprofits, institutions, academia, producer organizations, and producers all around the world. We hope that you'll consider joining the center. You can apply by going to the website at the link below or reach out to us by email. And for those of you who put your information in the Q&A, we'll reach out to you directly. Thank you for sharing your time. And as a final note, look out for our first session in the Regenerating Value Through Circular Economy in Coffee, which is next Thursday, February 26th, if I remember correctly. And what we're going to be discussing is financing for for circular economy in coffee, especially oriented toward those producing countries, as Dahab was mentioning. So please join us then. We'll be sure to send out that information. And if you're not already following us, we put out a lot of our information on LinkedIn. So you can look for the Center for Circular Economy and Coffee on LinkedIn to make sure you don't miss any of our webinars and events. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you next Thursday.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye bye.